Okay, folks, I'm working on some audio issues and changing the format of the video, so making this one other attempt. Here it is, still on September 7th, and we're looking at the SPX trade. This is my broad market trade. I placed this with about 45 days to go, and we can see we've been rattling around here, very high prices, low volatility, and earnings season is over, and so I'm really forced to do these broad longer running trades for my income to pay my bills. Usually our strategy is selling high implied volatility and capturing that crush, knowing that implied volatility is mean reverting. It's our primary strategy here. So now that earnings season is gone and the market is very high and volatility is low, we've got to do something else, and so this is what I'm doing, and basically making the decision on these basic support resistance areas. So I placed this big butterfly on this end of the trade here right at 1600. In case we come down here, you can see the support here. If Syria drags the market down, it looks like it's not going to happen, but if it does, we can accommodate all the way down to here, and then the likelihood of the market making a new high by the finish line here is pretty low. I mean, we could make a pretty good move, but it's not very likely because of the uncertainty over Syria. The unemployment, at this point, the unemployment report was soft, so that kind of muddies the situation with the Fed and not really knowing what they're going to do. So I'm kind of happy to see this little channel here broken, and it just kind of going to leave the market out into this area of profit for this trade. You can see we can accommodate all the way to a new high or all the way down past that 1600 area. We've already adjusted this trade a couple of times. We did have a debit spread right here. It was kind of a higher area. Price moved toward the debit spread, and so I took sold that final debit spread right there. And then I also sold one when price had moved down toward this debit spread and captured that. And then I also bought back one of these credit spreads over here in order to reduce the margin requirement. So that's really the beauty of this kind of trade. If you put on when we put on these kinds of trades, as price moves toward the debit spreads, you can sell them one at a time to catch your profits, and then also you can buy back the credit spreads that price is moving away from on the other end if you want to, in order to reduce the margin requirement. And then it moves back the other way, you can do the same thing. Now, so here we are in the weekend. This is going to open up Monday, and if the market drops back, this now line here, what I call the now line, is that moves north with the weekend time decay. If we can get another $150 out of this thing, price moves down into here, a little bit more northern movement of this now line. What I may do is go ahead and take some more of this trade off, buy back some more of these credit spreads over here, toy with the idea of selling another one of these debit spreads. Just keep milking this thing, and then of course if it moves back to the right, if the market moves up again, well then buy back more of these credit spreads as price moves away from it. So as time goes on, get more and more comfortable with this trade as we move toward the finish line. It sure is comfortable to be out in the middle of this trade. So that's why we put them on this way, so there's plenty that you can do as price moves back and forth. There are strategic things that we can do. So we always put the trade on with the idea that we have a strategy in case the market moves, and it's going to. Is the market just going to sit? Well, look at it. No, it won't. Alright, take a quick look at price line. So here is the price line trade, and I explained it in the other video, but the audio was terrible and it was a terrible format. But you can see what I originally did here was price was right here, earnings came out, implied vol was very high, and the expected move was 50 bucks. So I went out here, $50 either side of price, and put a butterfly there, and then the next morning price popped up and it settled into about $50 above where it had closed the day before, and price had moved into the body of the butterfly, and so I took the profit there. And then immediately that same day I noticed this behavior. Price line tends to move, it makes a move and settles back, makes a move, settles back, makes a move, settles back. You can see this repeating behavior. So based on that, after I shut that butterfly down and took that profit, I went ahead and anticipated that price would fill this gap and find support around 925 and kind of sit there for a while like it does. And so sure enough, it turned out it was right. So I've laid in a couple of debit spreads here, twice as many credit spreads here in that range, and price was up here at the time, and it afforded a great deal of psychological comfort, because if I was wrong and price this time around, even though it kind of always did that after move, maybe it was that time where it didn't do the same thing it usually does, and it just made the jump, gapped up on earnings, and then took off above 1,000, kept on running. Well, you can see that if it does go up and keeps running, I can't get burned on this trade. The worst I can do is make $60 and cover the commission. And I can tell you there are tremendous psychological advantages to putting on a trade that if you're wrong, you don't lose any money. It's a great way to build up some psychological capital and keep you in the game and keep from getting beaten up by being wrong. If you can be wrong and not lose money, that's a tremendous advantage. So price did come down here and threatened a short strike a couple of times. As you can see, yeah, it got down into the 929, 927 area. So I sat through a little bit of heat here, but I was very confident in that support level around 925, and ever since then price has just been rattling back and forth in here. Very comfortable letting the theta work for me, and then I held on to this debit spread here to keep this body intact. Remember, with this style of trade, generally a price moves away from the credit spread, we buy them back. If price were over here and it moved toward the debit spread, I would sell those. But since we're in the body here and we're in such a wonderful position on the now line, I'm very content and comfortable psychologically just to let this trade work and let the now line move north. Sometime next week, this thing gets up to $300 or $400, I'll go ahead and take it, take the trade off, take the profits. If we have a debacle and Iran launches against Israel or something like that, and we could get plenty of warning, and price could come down, fall through here. Who knows what could happen? The price line. I don't know. The executives have some sort of big, terrible twerking party or something like that hits the media, and down they come. Or they could fire William Shatner again like they did the one time and beat their own company up. You just never know what's going to happen. So I'm very comfortable right now to let this ride and get some bills paid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this video and send this out, and I'll check on that volume level. And this is a better format, an MP4 format anyway, with this little program. So thanks for your patience, and we'll catch up to you on the next video.